Hello, I want to welcome you to CIS 157. This class is about Swift. My name is Billy Ernie. I'll be your instructor for this semester. So let's get to looking at Blackboard for the course. Mine will look a little bit different than yours because I'm the instructor, but it should be roughly the same. First thing we need to do is look at getting started, look at the syllabus. I don't expect you to read every bit of this, but it'd probably be good to kind of reference this throughout the semester. This class is going to teach you about Swift, which is a programming language. At the last time I taught it, it was actually used mostly for iOS, Apple devices, but there's been some advancements with Swift to make it a more general purpose language to work on different machines besides Apple machines. Prerequisites for this class: you need to be able to have basic typing and basic math skills. I also recommend that you take CIS 150 and CIS 146 before you take this class. If you haven't taken those courses, I recommend that you take those first. You're going to be at a disadvantage if you don't have those courses already. CIS 150 will help you to with some basic computer logic, things that you'll need for this course, and 146 helps you with some of the basic computer skills that you need to be able to do things in this course. So I really don't encourage anybody to drop the course, but it probably would be the best thing for you to do if you don't have CIS 150 and CIS 146. If you have questions about that, you can send me a message and we can try to figure out how's the best way to proceed. For textbooks, there'll be an ebook, PDF really available. I will assign, there will be reading assignments. Usually it's only about a half a dozen to a dozen pages. I think that's sufficient rather than giving you a whole chapter to read and you know, it may take you a few hours to read it. I'd rather you focus on a handful of pages that really covers the material that we're going to discuss. So you'll see that in a minute, what some of the reading assignments will be, you know, the pages and stuff that you'll need to look at. I will also cover that type of information in my own lectures. So if you don't understand really what's being said in the reading, you know, maybe view my lecture that I'll do, and then maybe go back and look at some of the reading material again and see if it makes a little more sense. My name is Billy Ernie. I've already introduced myself. The main campus that I'm on is on the Sparks campus, Building A, Office 2. You can come see me if you'd like. I know a lot of you are near the Dothan campus, or you may be somewhere else. I don't usually get to the Wallace campus very often. It really depends semester by semester. If I need to teach a course down there, then of course I'm on campus at least part of the time. But if there's questions or something, we can try to work that out through email or video conferencing or something like that. Here's my email address, and you can also send me something through Blackboard Mail. So the course content, we'll be talking about the basic syntax of Swift and how to use it, how to use a compiler. We'll be learning about these basic things here: numbers, strings, booleans, what they are, if and switch statements, loops, functions, arrays, tuples, dictionaries, and classes. We may add a little bit to this if we've got time. We may take a little bit away if we run out of time. Usually start, you know, probably the most important things we kind of cover at the beginning, and depending on how well students do, will kind of let us know how fast we need to proceed. What I'll do is I'll generally every week or almost every week post some type of a lecture, you know, hopefully no more than 15-20 minutes. It kind of goes over some of the material that I want to discuss. You can watch those videos as many times as you want. Then also about every other week, there'll be some kind of a programming assignment, something that you'll need to turn in to show that you understand the ideas or concepts. The letter grading, or the grading criteria that I use, 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, and so on. Lab assignments will be worth about 40% of the grade, exams about 60%. There'll be 3 exams for a total of 100%. Since this is an online course, we'll be using Examity for taking exams, and they will be in Blackboard, so you'll be able to go through and click on true and false, and there may be a few places to where I want you to enter in some code or something like that, but we'll discuss that later. But it'll all be done through Blackboard and Examity. Let's see, I generally give due dates on assignments. Don't wait until the very end of the semester and turn in a bunch of assignments. That isn't going to work very well. I am usually a little bit flexible on due dates. So if somebody does turn it in a little bit late, that's usually okay. A lot of it depends on the size of the class. If it's less than a dozen students, that usually isn't too hard to work with. If there's a ton of students in the class, then I get a little more stricter on due date. So I'll just have to take that case by case, really, semester by semester, on how difficult I'll be on that. Let's see, you just go through and read the rest of this if you'd like, get a general idea how things are going to be. To give you an idea of kind of how we're going to cover things in the course, I usually try to follow a class schedule. So this is a class schedule that we'll do for this week. We're going to talk about the syllabus, the introduction videos that you're talking about, and then there's a homework 1 assignment that is assigned and it's due next week. The homework 1 assignment, it's mostly just to let me know what your programming experience is up till now. If you don't have any programming experience, that's okay. I just kind of want to get an idea of how everybody is in the class. Is everybody taken several courses, computing courses before? If that's the case, then that lets me know that I can kind of spend less time on the material at the beginning of the course. If almost nobody has programming experience, that tells me that I may need to spend a little bit more time on some of the material at the beginning of the course. There's really no right and wrong. I just want to kind of get a general feel of to learn a little bit more about you and what you know about computers and about programming. So I'll talk about that in just a minute, about the homework 1. So if we look under content here, we've got a few things here. One is the ebook that I talked about before, so you don't have to go out and buy a book. You probably could go buy this if you want a hand copy of it. If anybody is interested, I can tell you where I got this ebook and maybe you could get it. There are certain pages in here that you need to read. And I think the first reading assignment starts around on page 6 or so. Gives you a basic introduction here. It even gives you some computer code that you can type in, and I'll show you how we'll do some of that actually during next week. But it probably wouldn't be bad just to make sure that you can pull this up. You can kind of understand, and kind of scroll through it a little bit, see that you understand kind of what's going on. The programming interface that we'll use, we've got a few options. One of the things I will expect you to do is all your programming assignments that you turn in should be run through this thing this website called Swift, Swift WASM. It's actually a website that lets you run Swift code. And so technically you could do everything you need in this course and do most of it through the browser, most of the programming assignments, all that kind of stuff. So if you are on a Chromebook, it'll work okay. If you've got a Mac, if you've got a laptop, or if you're at a school somewhere, you'll be able to type in your programs here. The only bad thing about this interface is that it does not remember what you typed from the time that, each time you visit the page. So you may need to copy and paste the code somewhere. we'll talk about that in a little while, actually in the next video. So going back here, I'll have a place here for the lecture notes. And the first video is already there for next week. I'll add more to these as we go along. Let's see, let's go back to content. Homework assignments, here's your first homework assignment. Really what I want is in 2 or 3 sentences, please tell me about your experiences with computers and programming languages. If you have no experience, that's okay. I just want to gauge how much most of the class knows so that I know how much time I need to spend on each topic. The grade for this assignment is not based on your experiences, but with the effort you put into writing your answer. If you have no experience whatsoever, maybe explain why you're interested in programming or why you're interested in doing things with computers or going into this field. Because, you know, if you've got no experience whatsoever, you just write, I've got no experience. Well, that's only one sentence. But it's like, well, you're taking this class for a reason, and or you're interested in computers for a reason. You may be taking this class because you're required to, but that's not why you're trying to get a major, trying to get a degree or a certificate in programming or a related field with computers. There's a reason why you're getting that certificate or degree. So if nothing else, just 2 or 3 sentences, write down why that's the case. Why you know, of course, if you have programming experience, you know, taken a few other courses or you work with computers quite a bit, you know, explain that instead. Like I said, if you've got no programming experience, that doesn't mean that you're going to get an F for this assignment. It's all about you writing your answer. That's where the points are going to come in at. And generally, it's going to be a pass-fail thing. You're going to get 100 or you're going to get a 0. You know, if you don't turn it in, you're going to get a 0. If you write down a few sentences, you're probably going to get 100. If you just write down no experience, then I'm going to probably count that as a 0 because that's not 2 or 3 sentences. But, you know, put in a little bit of effort and you should be fine. So going back here, exams, that's where the exams will be, and we'll talk about that later. I actually think that's just about everything. So let's just stop the video right there. Make sure you read the syllabus, you look at the class schedule a little bit, and then also do the homework and try to turn that in this week or next week. And I'm really looking forward to the semester, teaching this course, getting to know you guys, teaching you about Swift, and teaching you about some computer concepts. So I'll see you next week. Bye.